Hey everyone, Mark Meckler here, president of Convention of States, and I'm here with the Sunday Night BattleCry, but you already know that because you're here and you're watching it. I'm always here and you're here. We're here together. It's the way it should be. It's the way I like Sunday nights to be. I'm glad to be with you. We got a lot to talk about tonight, but I want to start with our call to action. And our call to action is for you to go out and buy a Tesla. Okay, I'm just kidding. You don't have to buy a Tesla. I don't own a Tesla, but my point in saying that is I want you to think about how you shop and the things you buy, and to make a serious effort to buy things that support the things that you believe in and not the other way around. Try not to go out and spend money on things and companies that make things and do things that you don't believe in, right? And so good examples of that are do your best to buy American. Now, I say that I want to be really cautious saying that because it's hard to buy American. If you go to Amazon, it's hard to find American-made goods. I wish, and I heard a push this week, that they should have a button that said American-made only, and it should bring up American goods that you can select that. It's not that easy. And in fact, you can look in the description under the project and find country of origin. But my experience is often country of origin is blank, or it's a third-party transit point, a third country transit point for China, because I'm willing to buy stuff from overseas if I need to, but I especially don't want to buy stuff from China if I can avoid it. Now, I also want to say it's not a purity test. I find it very hard to not buy anything made in China. I'll give you an example. I was out shopping on Amazon for garden spikes. Literally just metal staples like this that go into garden fabric, like weed cloth or stuff like that. We were putting up a little fencing. We needed these. It was very difficult to find anything not made in China, or where I could tell where it was made and it was not made in China. And so sometimes you're going to have to cross that line and you might buy stuff made in China. But I would just say try not to. Be conscious of how you shop, where you're buying things from, where things are manufactured. You know, I remember when I was young, and I'm getting pretty old now, so I sound like an old man saying this, but when I was young, I remember there were campaigns to buy made in the USA stuff, right? Buy things with tags that said made in the USA. And granted, it's more expensive. And I don't think that is easy. In other words, you have a budget for your family. I have a budget for my family. I can't always afford to buy American made, but I try. And that's what I'm asking you to do. I'm not saying go out and buy a $60 or $70 or $100,000 Tesla. I'm just saying do your best to do your research and to produce things that are made in America, or at least made in countries where they don't hate America, like not China, right? China is our geopolitical foe. Your part in the fight against China is to do your best not to buy stuff from China. By the way, this is working. The tariff war that President Trump has launched is definitely hurting China. Their factories are definitely hurting. They have all kinds of excess capacity. They have inventory stacked up. So this is something that we can all participate in as patriotic citizens, is to protect ourselves and protect our country by trying not to buy stuff from China. Speaking of crazy ways to spend your money, taxpayer dollars are apparently going to alpaca ranching in Peru and the marketability of peas and a whole bunch of other crazy stuff. Check out this clip, producer G.
IAF is one of the agencies we visited where, they get $50 million a year, congressional money, to give grants. These are things like, alpaca farming in Peru, improving
That's a real example.
Yes, that's the real description. Improving the marketability of peas in Guatemala.
Really?
Fruit jam. Yes.
What? Yeah.
So you might expect, in the private sector, a nonprofit to give, 80 to 90% of their money to grantees. In the case of IAF, that was 58%. So the other half goes towards management, travel.
What we're find exactly, I mean, to Ethan's example is that even if you agreed with supporting alpaca farmers in Peru, actually most of the money never made it out of D.C. Mm-hmm. It's going into the pockets of people in the neighborhood.
What percentage
didn't even get to Peru?
Right. So what percentage do you think doesn't even get to the destination it's supposed to?
I believe the GAO estimate, so this is not our estimate, I believe it was on the order of only 10 to 15 cents on the dollar actually gets to the end recipient, whether you agree with that cause or not.
So they're just stealing the money before it
Yes.
even gets anywhere.
There's layers of stealing. So there's the first layer of stealing, second layer of stealing, third layer of stealing.
Subcontractor,
You start peeling the onion. Yeah,
subcontractor.
exactly. Contractor, subcontractor. It's like peeling an onion. And then maybe, and sometimes it's zero. Just flat, you get to the bottom of the onion, there's nothing there.
So maybe no one got a sex change in Guatemala.
It's possible that no one got a sex change in Guatemala.
You know, I mean, they're laughing about it, and you have to laugh because otherwise you just want to scream and bang your head against the desk. But this is outrageous. I mean, the things that they're finding day in and day out, and you got the left objecting to this finding, right? That they don't want to know about this stuff. They don't want to see this stuff. Maybe they want their money going to alpaca ranchers in Peru, or to determine the feasibility of marketing peas in Guatemala, or whatever else it is. And when Musk describes the onion, I think that's really interesting. And I just want to clarify what he's saying. He's saying that you have the main government money going to an NGO, a non-government organization, and then they're giving it to somebody else, who's giving it to somebody else, who's giving it to somebody else. And all along the way, there are management fees coming out, general accounting and overhead kind of stuff. Got to pay each organization their slice. And he said sometimes when you peel that onion back all the way, there's nothing left that goes out to the actual cause it was supposed to support. And that's whether you support the cause or not. But I wonder why we're spending a single penny on alpaca farmers in Peru, or the marketing of peas in Guatemala. I mean, this is just insane. And they're talking about, in this case, $50 million. I mean, that's not much in terms of the entire federal budget, but that's a heck of a lot of money. I don't know about you. I would say $50 million would change my life. I think it would change most people's lives. Maybe not Musk, but it would change my life. 1/50th of that would change my life. And so this is incredible, the amount of money that's being wasted. Important to remember where that money comes from, too. It actually comes from you, from the taxpayer. Now, I'm really glad that President Trump has Elon Musk, that we have Doge, that they're doing things they can to reduce the waste and to reduce the size and scope of the federal government, but they cannot do it all. It's going to take you, it's going to take me, it's going to take convention of states, because they can't do things like term limits. They're not going to balance the budget. They're not going to permanently cut these agencies so that this stuff doesn't come back according to executive orders immediately, boom, like that on the next Democrat administration. If we want to get rid of stuff like this, we want to get rid of this stuff personally, permanent. If we want to get rid of this and we want to get rid of it permanently, then we're going to have to hold a convention of states under Article 5 of the Constitution immediately. See, you're the solution. They're not the solution. They're an interim solution. I'm glad they're there. I'm glad they're doing this stuff, but it's going to take you and me to fix this stuff permanently. And the Democrats, they hate it, right? And they're kind of going wild against Doge, wild against Tesla. I think the Democrats are completely out of control generally. This is nothing new, but it's particularly bad right now. If you look at what they're doing in regard to immigration, their new poster child, the guy that they love more than anybody else out there, the guy that they're visiting in prison, the guy that they want to bring back to the United States is Kilmar Abrego Garcia. You probably heard that name over and over. Garcia is now in a prison in El Salvador. This is a guy who's credibly abused of wife abuse, not just once, but a second time. A second report's just come out. She said she feared for her life. He was cruel to the children. He was destroying their stuff. He dragged her out of a car by her hair. She reported that there were bruises all over her body. She has photographs of it. She said that he said that if he killed her, nobody would ever even know. They couldn't do anything to him. This is a guy that is credibly accused of MS-13 gang membership. When he was first picked up, he was with a couple of guys from MS-13 in a Home Depot parking lot. I'm sure that was just a coincidence, right? But the left loves him. They have a total love affair with this guy. They want him back in the United States of America. The question is, when will it end? What will it take? Is it if they show this guy actually murdered somebody? I don't think so. I don't think they would abandon him at that point. So I think it's actually good for Republicans that Democrats love this guy so much, but I think it's bad for the country. This guy is an actual serious criminal. This is a guy that's a gang member, it seems. This is a guy, it seems, has abused his wife and his kids repeatedly. This is a guy that's hanging out with MS-13. This is a guy that it appears was human trafficking, pulled over in a van in Tennessee with 8 people in the van, no luggage, no documentation, on his way to Maryland. And the FBI under Joe Biden said, let him go. And the Democrats still love this guy. I don't know. I can't figure it out. Maybe it's political suicide. Maybe it's just because Democrats are always attracted to all the worst people. I don't understand why. The Democrats also love doom and gloom. This is sort of the mantra of the left. And right now, their doom and gloom is focused on the economy. The economy's terrible. The economy's horrible. Doom and gloom. But it's really, when you actually dig in and you look at the numbers, I would say it's all boom, boom, boom. There is an economic boom taking place. Let me give you some specifics about this. So the jobs report came out and jobs are up. We added 177,000 jobs. Now, the average projection was that the economy was going to add 138,000 jobs. The highest one I saw out of the legitimate projections was about 171,000. Really, we added 177,000 jobs. Real wages are stable or going up a little bit. That's fantastic. So good stuff going on out there. The labor rate participation number is up. That means the number of people actually participating in the labor market. And the jobs are better jobs. The full-time employment numbers are up. This is incredible. Now, there's a little drop, a very small drop in manufacturing. There's a very big drop, about 8,000 jobs in government jobs. So the fact that jobs are still up, but we've lost 8,000 government jobs, that's really makes the numbers even more amazing. In fact, let me pull down a report. I think I've got a bunch of numbers, and I don't normally read you numbers, but I kind of want to go through some of this because the media is, oh my God, hysterical. The Bureau of Economic Analysis released its estimate that economic growth, as measured by the GDP, is a contraction of 0.3%, 0.3%. It's not a positive number. That's not a good thing. But if you look behind the numbers, and you have to look behind the numbers, what you see is government purchases have been slowed a whole bunch. It's the first decrease in government purchases in 3 years, and it is a 0.25 percentage point deduction from GDP. Okay, I want you to compare those numbers. With an overall slip of 0.3, but 0.25 is almost the entire decline, and that's a cut in government purchasing. So that's what's going on. It's not that the economy is slowing. It's that the government is purchasing less, and that's a really good thing. The less money that the government spends, the more money is available for the private sector to spend, and that's fantastic. Now, when you look at gross domestic product, an even larger subtraction came from imports. So imports, the amount of goods we import into America, it went up by 41.3%. Why? Why did it jump so much? Because a lot of folks were looking to bring imports into the country before the new tariffs could take place, the import taxes. That pushed down GDP by over 5 points. So that means other things pushed it back up, so it didn't drop by 5 points. So the bad news that is being pointed all as doom and gloom, it's not that bad. And actually, if you look at government spending and the reduction in government spending, government purchasing, it's actually pretty good news. Also, the federal debt declined for Q1 2025. Think about that. So when Trump left office, the interest on the debt was about $600 billion a year, roughly. Biden doubled that, interest payments exceeding an annualized $1.1 trillion. And that actually exceeds all defense spending combined. I mean, this is an incredible number. That's just interest on debt. And what this government, what Trump's government is trying to do is stopping the exploding cost of servicing the nation's debt. And so when you look at this, the best part of that GDP report was the showstopper, really, that investment is skyrocketing up 21.9% seasonally adjusted. So people are investing. So if you think about it, investment lagged under Biden, even badly below its pre-pandemic trend, even turning negative by the end of his term. And Trump reversed that. In other words, people are investing in America because Trump has promised he's going to make it an investment-friendly place. So I would say to close out all this, it's not all doom and gloom. It's more boom, boom, boom. You got to look at the numbers underneath. But Congress is going to have to get its act together, make the Trump tax cuts permanent, maybe do some more Trump tax cuts, get the regulation under control. If they do that, frankly, I think we're going to see an extraordinary economic boom. So, of course, I watch the numbers. I try to pay attention to the reality. Makes me a little bit nervous for sure. But right now, I'm going to say we have an economic boom coming and things look pretty good. So don't be all doom and gloom. Now, if you live in China and you're Chinese or you're the Chinese leadership, you might be all doom and gloom right now because China's hurting. Their economy is contracting, and that's a really good thing. China is our main geopolitical foe. We have to push on them, and that is what Trump is doing. And based on his tariffs, massive tariffs on China, their factory output is slowing down. Their retail consumption is slowing down. They're in trouble now. I think that's a good thing. But I also think we need a more thorough plan. What are we going to do? Because China has to be contained. I'm very worried that China is going to say, well, we got nothing to lose. Now is the time to blockade Taiwan. If they do that, Taiwan manufactures virtually all of the very high-end chips that we need for our entire defense industry and a lot of other things. And what if China blockades it? Are we really going to get into a military conflict with China? What if China simply decides to launch a few missiles and destroy the main high-end chip makers? The secondary level chips, the kind of second best chips in the world, all made in China itself. So this is a very dangerous and tenuous situation. We'll be keeping an eye on that. Flipping to another place that is incredibly volatile, the Middle East. Let's talk Israel. Let's talk Ambassador Mike Huckabee. I'm so excited that Mike Huckabee is ambassador to Israel for multiple reasons. I think this is an incredible time in history to have an ambassador to Israel that's not Jewish. I say that as a Jewish Christian. It's not because I don't think it's good to have a Jewish ambassador. We almost always do. I think it's good because right now, Christians need to stand for Israel. And Mike Huckabee, prominent Christian, former governor, really smart guy. He's been going to Israel for over 50 years. He's made over 100 trips to Israel. This guy knows a lot about Israel, its history, and aside from its biblical significance, which I really can't push to the side, I mean, that is the land that by covenant God gave to the Jews. The Jews are God's chosen people. The Israelites, in one form or another, have been in that land for 3,500 years. You can't ignore all that. But if you want to put that stuff to the side, Israel is strategic. It is the only democratically elected country, the only free country in the Middle East. It is an ally of the U.S. And I got to say, there are people out there that are saying, I think, crazy stuff about this. Among them, Tucker Carlson, who I've long considered a friend, Candace Owens. Can't say that I'm friends with Candace, but, another person that a lot of people follow. And they're just attacking Israel. And they're saying they don't understand why the U.S. is allies with Israel. Like, what does it mean to be an ally? And Tucker this week said something like, well, we don't have a base there. And we have a base in Dubai or in Abu Dhabi. So what does it mean to be an ally? Isn't it where we have bases? We don't need a base in Israel to be allied with Israel. Israel provides us with intelligence stuff from all around the Middle East. They have the best intelligence of the entire Middle East. They have surveillance all over the whole Middle East. They share all that stuff with us. They jointly develop weapons system with us. We need a place in the Middle East that is friendly to us. That is the friendliest place to the United States of America. Tucker tried to allege that somehow Dubai was the place that's friendly because we have a base there. Dubai, by the way, is the largest investor in American universities, trying to turn them all Islamist. Dubai is a cutout for Iran. Iranian money flows through Dubai to terrorist organizations like Hezbollah and Hamas. Yeah, it's not Dubai. The Israelis are our allies. So to all of you who might be anti-Zionist, who might be really, if you say you're anti-Zionist, probably anti-Semitic, to what they call the groypers out there, to the isolationists, I would just say reality is calling, right? Open your eyes, wake up, enjoy the world as it really is, not as you wish it were. It would be wonderful if we didn't have to spend any money at all in any other country, but the U.S. has interests all over the world, and I think we should spend our money wisely. Always be careful, always audit where our money's going to and how it's being used. But I think we have to spend some money on our allies, and we have to deal with the fact that the world is a volatile place, and we want to be allied with the people who will protect us, have our back in times of volatility, and that's Israel. Speaking of reality, last week I had to spend the day in the Texas House of Representatives. I was there in the gallery watching. I was waiting for them to debate and discuss the Convention of States resolution. Convention of States passed in 2017 in the Texas House and the Senate, and that's when it got entered in the rolls of the states that have effectively passed the resolution. But they put a sunset clause on it, and that sunset clause expires this month. So we have to remove that in the Texas House and Senate. So I was there with the Texas grassroots, and it got heard in the House of Representatives. And I'll be honest with you, it's kind of anticlimactic. Like, I'm excited. It did pass the House. We had about a 10-vote margin, so we easily passed the House. But I'm used to kind of fiery debates, and it's super interesting. Our sponsor, Representative Cody Vasut, got up. I think he made a 10-second, 15-second presentation. One Democrat got up and said they were opposed to it because we can't afford to do it. And then Cody got up there and closed and called for a vote, and it was over. It was like, boom. I mean, I think the whole thing was maybe 3 minutes. I was pretty surprised. Very fast, very easy, but it's been a long road to get there, and our grassroots has been working a long time. Special thanks to John Van Compernel, our legislative liaison, Erica Hatfield, our state director, the whole team there in the legislature, what we call the Capitol Brigade, that's been going to that legislature week after week, month after month to get this done. Really proud of you guys. Now it's over to the Senate. So next week, what we expect to see on Monday, we expect to see debate in the Senate, and then it get voted out of the Senate committee, go to the floor before the end of the week. And we expect victory there in Texas, and we will remove the sunset clause and protect and preserve the Convention of States resolution. So very excited about that. That's all because of the grassroots here in Texas, really, and a great rep in Cody Vasut, who's really led the way in the House of Representatives. Next week, also, I'm going to be unfortunately, I won't be here if they pass it, because I'm going to be in Washington, D.C. Our interns, our Emerging Leaders Program, are traveling to D.C. I'll be traveling there to be with them, hang out for the week, do a bunch of meetings in the White House. Going to be incredible. Tuesday, I may have to fly out for half a day and go to North Carolina, because I think we might have a hearing in the North Carolina House Committee, and I'll probably go there for that because I will be the closest if I'm in Washington, D.C. You might be able to tell it's going to be a busy week, and I'm not going to be at home hanging out with the dogs. Are the dogs around today? Look at that. Both the dogs are here. Got Doc, the black and white one, Winston, they're here. I won't be with them. Petty will have to deal with all of that. We're going to do Q&A, but before we do, I want to do a couple of promotions. I am so excited about this. One of the favorite interviews I've done in the last year is with a show called The Girl Named Blake. And she is awesome. She's a young Christian woman, a stay-at-home mom, and she's just common sense. And when you hang out with her, if you hang out with Blake, I got to hang out with her actually in Austin face-to-face after we did our interview. She's like the nicest person, the most normal person. She's pretty famous, pretty popular. You wouldn't know that by talking to her because she's just a regular gal. And I just really enjoyed hanging out with her. And so this week, you're going to get a chance to hang out with her, which is super cool. Let's see us at home next Wednesday, the 7th. That's The Girl Named Blake is going to be there. conventionofstates.com/at-home if you want to register and get the details. Don't forget, we're trying to get Elon Musk on board with Convention of States. If you go to conventionofstates.com/Musk, you'll see our open letter to Elon Musk. Please sign that. The more we have, the more likely we are to get Musk on board. Make sure you're buying your swag, right? I'm wearing my Join or Die shirt. It's got the snake on the back. It's got the flag on one side. It's got the COS flag on the other. Really great. I mean, I love our hats and all of our gear. Right now, the classic baseball caps and the trucker hats are 20% off at the Article 5 Outfitter store. That sale ends Wednesday. Go to shopconventionofstates.com. Pick up your gear right now. Make sure you hit the like button. This really helps us a lot. Subscribe. ring that notification bell. That helps us beat the algorithm, or at least participate in the algorithm, get more views. That's what we want. That's how we spread the word. All right. And if you do all that stuff and you're ready to go, maybe you got your gear on, maybe you don't, you can ask me anything you want. You go to conventionofstates.com/ask Mark. I mean, when I say you can ask me pretty much anything, favorite flavor of ice cream, which I will not reveal unless you ask, favorite breed of dog. If you don't know that, you probably have never watched before. Anything you want to ask, or political questions. They can be about Convention of States. They can be about maybe Donald Trump. They could be about Congress. They could be about Israel, Iran, whatever you want. Ask them. I'll try to answer all of them. Here's a few for today. Francis Stelly says, I am 82. Will COS happen in my lifetime? I pray that it does. Well, Francis, let me start with this. My grandmother always used to say a blessing, and she would say, till 120. So I'm hoping you make it that long, Francis. That would be 28 more years. And yes, we're absolutely going to have a convention of states in that time. So I think it'll be a lot sooner than that. Just stick around. I think we're going to get it done. Robert Grace asks, how can we address representation not representing constituents as they represent corporations and not people? Look, Robert, I think the answer to that is simple, but not easy. And what I mean by that simple is it's up to you and me and everybody like us. When we go in, when we spend time in the legislature, when we talk to Congress, when we make appointments with our congressmen when they're back in district, and we do that in mass, our congressmen listen. And it's up to us to spend the time and the energy to know what's going on and to engage with those folks, and then they will listen to us. So unfortunately, most people don't do that. That's what you need to do, Rob. I appreciate you for watching this and submitting questions. I appreciate all of you for being involved in Convention of States. We come here every week. We do the battle cry because you ask us to do it. I'm going to keep doing it as long as you want us to do it. We've got a whole bunch of new media stuff coming up down the pike. I think you're going to be really excited. I look forward to hopefully making some announcements sometime in the next couple of months. Anyway, God bless you guys. I appreciate you. Thanks for being with us on the battle cry. And until next week, we'll see you then.